Welcome back to Nets Republic. What's up with y'all? So yesterday we talked about was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. But one of these days we talked about the trade deadline and stuff like that and all the acquisitions that were made and such. And I was referencing heavily the Cavaliers game. Now, obviously today we play Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But you see the title of the video. While Seventh Bond is an individual that is constantly right, I am also someone who is capable of admitting when I'm wrong. And this is one of the very few times where I need to get on camera and actually say this. I was wrong about Ben Simmons. There was a lot of chest beating. There was a lot of bass put in my voice, but I just want to apologize because I was wrong about Ben Simmons entirely. I should have listened to the Philly fans. I should have listened to y'all. That's my apology. What? I hate living in apartments because it's just like I'm trying to get my stuff off and there's just shenanigans happening out my window, but that's neither here nor there. Y'all, before we get to Benjamin Button Simmons, Injamin Simmons as I like to call him, I want to say that there is a broader point that's being made throughout this video, and it is a shift of the blame. I think me getting on to Jacques Vaughn is not counterproductive, but I don't feel like it does anything. I think it's not only me trying to run up a wall or screaming at a wall, but I think it's like that's such a duh type thing. Like there's no point in it, right? We know what it is with Shock, right? So I just think it's ridiculous, repetitive, and redundant for me to get on here and try to talk trash about that man. Just like how it's like, what's the point in getting on to Mikal Bridges, right? Mikal is putting up Carmelo Anthony numbers, and it's like, what are we, like, what's happening here, right? The man will be 10 for 40 and he gets 25 points and we're just like, well, he couldn't have done more. Yeah, he could have. That's terrible efficiency. And I'm not number guy. I mean, it's just like, I will watch him miss 34 times, but he makes 10 of them. And I'm supposed to be like, wow, what a star. I can't. But again, harping on that doesn't really do anything. I want to make this broader point. The broader point, and y'all have been alluding to this for several years now, I never want to go to this point because I feel like if we attack it from a micro level, then it's easier to manage. But looking at like zooming out macro view, I have to agree with y'all to a very high extent. Sean Marks has failed. You know, he keeps speaking on, you know, we just don't see the vision, but it is so much more than that, bro. We are not in 2020, right? This isn't 2021 even. This isn't even 2022. This is 2024. You have failed. And the fact that he is going about the exact same process again is concerning. He failed. His idea of, revamping a team, trying to get good assets, which I assume we all thought was to make that team into a contender with the assets that we have. But instead it was build up assets for trades to go, as some of y'all said in the comments, star hunting, to go get big name talent to super team our way to a championship. And that does not work. Now, in some scenarios it does, but for the most part, it doesn't work. And he has already tried this once. The Nets organization have done this twice. We talked about this last video, but Sean Marks has already done this once, and we saw how it ended up. But where a lot of people kind of like don't give him the business enough is the fact that we can still see the carryovers in real time. How can y'all look at that Cavs game, look at what Jared Allen has become, look at how Karis LeVert understands his role and is a facilitator and occasionally scores, but then just plays defense and hustles? There is no way we are looking at what those two would have developed into as true, decent role players And with Jared, it is beyond decent. Now, I'll still take Claxton over Jared, but the point is, we drafted Claxton. We didn't have to get rid of Jared Allen, right? I think we drafted, didn't we draft Karis? I'm not sure, right? But we did not have to get rid of Karis LeVert. We could have added all the pieces we had around us and still had the general team that we have. We would still have Cam Thomas. Because remember, we drafted these individuals when we had Harden in them, coming off the second round. So again, it doesn't matter what the timeline says, we are still able to acquire talent of this nature. I'll take it back even further. If you don't do what you did with the D'Angelo Russell nonsense, and there's no KD, there was never a Kyrie, right? The exact trajectory of the team would have been the same. We go to the bubble, we get swept, right? Next year, we come back, probably make it over to the second round because, God, what would have that been? Year 4 of that general Nets core, right? Joe Harris, Rondé, you know what I mean? The exact same result would have been, that team would have been together 4 more years at that point, under Kenny. So making it to the second round and not making it past there is not out of the ordinary. Like, people make it seem like we went to the finals. We lost in the second round. That's the peak. That's as far as we got. And then proceeded to get swept and then swept again. You're telling me the team we had could not have had the same trajectory, but we're adding a Cam Johnson, a Thomas? But we're adding a Day'Ron Sharpe? But through free agency somehow we acquire a Royce O'Neal? You don't think the same trajectory is there? The only difference is we're building on something under a competent head coach. It's mind-boggling. It really, really is. I know y'all don't care, but I gotta do it. It reminds me of the Atlanta Dream, right? We didn't have to get rid of Kennedy Carter. We could have had Kennedy and Ryan Howard on the same team. Like, in these other timelines and these other multiverses, we don't have, like, it would have been the same thing. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, I know. But let's really investigate this for just a quick second. Let's really investigate this. When the Nets make the decisions that they make, and again, I'm looking at Sean Marks being a failure because he's trying to do the exact same thing again and build up these stars like a Clowney, you feel me? Like a Trendon Watford, you feel me? Like a Wilson, right? Get their draft stock up, Claxton, Cam Thomas, to trade them for stars. He's doing it again. We can't let it happen. We can't go through this again. It is so frustrating to watch, y'all. We cannot go through this again. But again, let's continue to unpack the Cavaliers game because there is so much tea to unpack in this game. Now, the game is somewhat competitive. Ben Simmons is doing Ben Simmons stuff, right? He scored 6 or 8, so I guess we're supposed to pat him on the back for doing that. Again, he can't score the number on his jersey, but we're supposed to say good job for being more aggressive. I'm not quite clear on what the standard of Ben Simmons is exactly. I feel like we're really grading him on a curve, but that's not even there. Again, 2 assists, 1 rebound. I'm not numbers man, but I am not entirely clear on why he gets a pass for this type of activity, but that's not here there. So it is a somewhat close game. It is a somewhat competitive game. There are moments where we are just getting blown out, but I can attribute that to half the roster being hurt. Half the roster is hurt. We're out there with a bunch of children and role players and Ben Simmons, right? So I can cut Jacques Vaughn some slack on that. I don't know what more he could have done with what he was given. Now, again, did we have to trade Royce O'Neal for draft picks? No. Draft picks that we're just going to trade. whether we draft them or literally trade the draft picks. Let me make that clear. But someone like Royce O'Neal is the glue of the team. Royce O'Neal doesn't have injury issues like Finney Smith and the rest of them. Royce O'Neal, there's like a hair in like the back of my thumb. I'm trying to get it out, but that's not here there. He was like one of the, he was a part of the core. That's what made the team go. His defense, his ability to hit shots, his ability to go in, have the and ones and do the two smalls and stuff like that, his leadership, his veteran presence. Oh. Sorry. That is such an important thing that you just sent away. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying he's the missing piece to a championship, but when you get rid of such a core element of what makes this iteration of the Nets tick, again, that's the Bruce Brown going. That's the Jeff Green going. I always take it back to Rondé and Jared Dudley, but y'all say I'm crazy for saying that. There are certain pieces, like not bringing back a Blake Griffin and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like these are such crucial pieces to what makes the team go. And when you keep cycling these people out, not thinking to yourself, oh, this, like, when you say things like, where's the effort? Where's the grit? Where's the hustle? You traded it away. And what did we get for that? Nothing. So, like, is this new dude with all the tattoos or whatever, I don't know his last name, I don't care. Like, is he supposed to be new fill in the blank hustle guy? Are you going to let him stay on the roster for a year, let him be a big veteran presence, and then trade him for someone else? Because that's not how building a team works, y'all. That's not how that works. I'm telling you, Royce should have been the last one traded. And we saw it. But let me keep going. So the game is somewhat competitive. We're going into the third quarter, fresh off of halftime. They're doing the birthday cake thing for Ian Eagle. It was a fun moment. And y'all know I'll be hating on Ian, but this was a very fun moment. You know, they're advertising juniors. You know, if I ever have the pleasure of going up to New York again, I'm gonna have to check them out. I'm not even a cheesecake guy, but it looked amazing. But that's not either there. They're all having a fun moment, right? I don't know where Megan Triplet was during all of that, but that's not either there. But they're having a fun moment, and it was really cute. Literally, while they are talking about this man's birthday, which was, I believe, yesterday, not that that matters, but, you know, they're cool. Ben Simmons launches Jared Allen into the front row. Now, your personal feelings of these players aside, right? It's hard to do it, but let's remove our attachment to Jared Allen for a second. It's tough to do it, but let's remove our attachment to Jared Allen for just a second. And let's look at this from a strictly analytical, no emotions, strictly analytical, we'll get to the emotions later, trust me, but strictly analytical, unbiased opinions, right? What did that do for the team? Because right after that moment of Ben Simmons being an enforcer, I don't know what he was getting off. I don't know what Buddy was trying to get off there. I'm going to be honest with you. But after whatever that was, did that, A, inspire the team to take the lead or be competitive for the rest of the game? Or did it completely derail us? It's that one, y'all. The Nets proceeded to go on a was it 25 run or something like that? We did not score in the third quarter until about 4 minutes left. We didn't score. That third quarter was completely barren. So what was the point of that, Ben? What did you think you were getting off? Did you think you ate that? Like what was the point of that, Ben? And what What really makes me irritated is the fact that he'll do things like that and then he'll walk away like he did something. Like he's trying to show the kids on the roster, this is how you play playoff basketball. Number one, Ben, I think Mikal is older than you. Let's start there. That's not even a meme. I think I'm older than Ben Simmons. So let's start there. You're not a veteran. You have played 4 seasons. You are not a veteran. Wasn't he hurt his first rookie year or something and then took the joint from Donovan Mitchell? So really it's like 3. He played 3 seasons. So you're not a veteran, my G. You are hiding behind Jimmy Butler. You are hiding behind Tobias Harris, which is disgusting, but behind Tobias Harris. You were hiding behind Joel Embiid. You're not that guy. The success of Philly has nothing to do with you, Ben. Would you say the Sixers have gotten worse or stayed the same? I would venture to say stayed the same. I couldn't tell the difference when James Harden was there. I can't tell the difference with Tyrese Maxey out there. It's the same team. It wasn't you, bro. And the allure and the glitz and the glamour that comes with a star name like Ben Simmons. Because again, this isn't like Mikal where he's just a role player that gets more shots. This isn't like Cam Thomas where we are looking at a future MVP, right? This isn't Claxton where the potential just makes your mouth water. The way Claxton with his cool starter locks can come down the court dribbling the ball himself. And if given the freedom, could just go to the rim Giannis style. He's even got a jumper that I would love to see in game. Not that 3, keep the 3 to yourself, but the little mini jumper. Everything Jared Allen was doing, Claxton does 90 times better, except for the free throws. But again, you put him in the potential category because he has not been given the opportunity to truly shine. Ben Simmons, on the other hand, though there is a sheer lack of experience that I don't understand how he is getting away with to have the reputation that he has, but he's a star. I believe he's been all NBA. I believe he's been all defense. He's an all-star. Like, that is Ben Simmons. That is an established name. I can put Ben Simmons in the title of the video, and I am almost guaranteed big numbers. I can't do that with Mikal. I can't do that with Cam. I can't do that with Claxton, because when your name holds weight, when you have clout, you are held to a different standard. So when I say things like, Ben Simmons is a fraud and he's trash and y'all were right, I mean that. Because Mikal Bridges is being held to a standard that's not fair to him because he's not that guy. But we understand that. Cam Thomas is not given the opportunity to develop at all because of a lack of so many things that this is going to be a very long video, so just strap on. It's going to be because there's so many different things to talk about. But let's get back to the point at hand. Ben Simmons. How is it possible that Ben Simmons can be on the floor after demanding that he start? Because he was doing that in training camp. Maybe y'all don't remember that, but Ben was saying he should be starting in training camp. So with Ben Simmons starting on a minutes restriction, so I don't know how you can start with a minutes restriction, but okay. How is it possible that the team can go scoreless the entire time you're on the court? If Ben Simmons is such a offensive maestro, if he's such a floor general, if he's going to clap after every time they knock the ball out of bounds, if you are going to shove opposing players, why can the team not score? Again, we already know what it is with Jacques Vaughn. This is Ben Simmons. James Harden was able to figure it out. Why can't Ben Simmons do that? And again, we are not even asking him to score. He should, but we're not even asking that. He could average 10, 10, and 10, and he has done his job. But you cannot come out of a game against the Cavs, and I don't care what their record is. I don't care what your record. Sever never cares. Because a fraud is a fraud. Numbers don't mean a thing to me. It's the Cavs. They have two centers playing. You can't figure that out with all the scoring we have on this team, even without a Royce O'Neal. Ben, you can't figure that out. And it's Ben Simmons. This isn't Alfred Payton. This isn't Dennis Schroeder. This isn't Dennis Smith Jr. This is Ben Simmons. He goes to the bench. Dennis Smith Jr. comes in. All of a sudden, everyone can score. Dennis Smith Jr. is getting steals. Dennis Smith Jr. is getting assists. He might get blocked a lot, and sometimes he has trouble finishing his dunks, but at least he's trying. He'll get the and ones. He'll get the second chance things, right? If he tries to give it to Claxton, and Claxton has literally two centers on him, Dennis Smith Jr. will come up behind him and put it back in and then flex and mean mug, then immediately play full court defense. Dennis Smith Jr. is someone who should be running the team. But now you've added Schroeder, and Ben Simmons is demanding to start. So does that mean Schroeder comes off the bench? Then what happens to Dennis Smith Jr.? Are we punishing him for being good and doing what you asked him to do? Is he on punishment for that? And then what happens if they try some nasty stuff of they have Cam Thomas come off the bench and Schroeder and Ben are starting? Like, the organization is lost. And Schroeder's talking all this stuff of like, oh, I like to win. Buddy, you're in for a rude awakening on the Nets. Because again, I'll take it back further to the Sean Marks conversation, where the organization is just lost. I mean, they need to revamp all of it. The players can stay. But get Sean Marks out of there. Josiah, wake up, bro. Wake up. Get that man out of here and take Jacques Vaughn with you. Stuff like this cannot continue to happen because this team and this organization is lost. There is no clear direction whatsoever. Sean Marks can continue to say buzzwords to make y'all feel better, but I'm telling you, the organization is lost. And when you really break it down, again, we're having hard conversations here, but everybody needs to hear this. And maybe if it might not be taken seriously because it's coming from me, but I need y'all to really listen to me for a second. The only difference between what we were doing under Steve Nash and the beginning of the Jacques Vaughn era, not including the bubble, of course, is the talent of the players have taken a significant dip. Now, you know how I feel about Cam, you know how I feel about Claxton, but follow me here. It was the literal greatness of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and at times Harden, that was able to propel us to these insane records. We had a roster with Blake Griffin, you know what I mean? And y'all might think that is like blasphemy to put him in the same conversation, but I mess with Blake Griffin. I don't care if y'all don't, but that's not neither there. It was the sheer talent and God tier abilities of these players that was keeping us in games. Because there have never been plays. There have never been any form of identity outside of get after it. Sean Marks keeps talking about this like grit and grind culture, like this is the Fizdale Grizzlies or something. The Brooklyn Grit, the culture. What does that mean, bro? What is the definition? That is a corporate buzzword. Because what does that mean? What is the identity of the Nets? The Knicks have reverted back to that 90s style where they're just going to beat you up. And then Jalen Brunson closes the game. The Hawks are a heliocentric offense around Trey. You've got a couple of individuals here and there who are able to help him if he's having an off night, but that's their identity. It won't work, but that's their identity. Milwaukee, right? Super aggressive defense, attack the paint, and Damian Lillard can close because Chris Middleton is very sometimey and Giannis is afraid of closing shots. There are identities for almost every decent franchise. What do the Nets do? What's our thing other than this weird culture thing? Because again, let's go back to where we just came from. We had Steve Nash as a coach and we were the second seed. It was because the players were so incredible. The players were so dynamic that they were able to basically ignore. That's why they said we didn't need a coach. Now, looking back, that was a terrible idea. We should have kept Kenny. But that's why when they brought on Steve Nash, they said, okay, we don't really need a coach. We'll be fine. Because they knew how good they were. They didn't respect Steve Nash. They knew how good they were and that they would just have to figure it out. James Harden was the coach of the team. They just knew they had to figure it out somehow. Kyrie was coach of the team. They just knew they had to figure it out with their talent. But again, going against far superior talent with systems and stuff like that, we didn't have a chance. Celtics wiped the floor with us because they had again, we went up against people that had actual culture, right? And a coach that was actually doing things, right? An organization that had a plan and certain procedures in place. Now, you could say, well, Jacques Vaughn draws a play every now and again. That little out-of-bounds play that they run where Mikal stands in the corner, they set a couple of screens, pass it to him, he might make the corner three. That is the extent of the play we're going to get. Now, look at the Cavaliers for a second. Current Cavaliers. Look at what the Cavaliers do. They have a very similarly constructed team. They are aware that Jared Allen is an all-star. So what do? They run actions for him. They run plays for him. They put him in positions where he can be a bucket. Now, is it the visually appealing cash a three, stretch the floor stuff? No, but he knows how to get in his bag and do what he does, because that is what you do when you have a roster. You are supposed to use the talents of who you have around you and use it to the best of your abilities to get the best out of them, not try to make them be something that they're not. That's why the triangle doesn't work if you don't have the specific pieces there. You can't tell D Rose, yo, run the triangle. That's not how that works. That's not how he plays. When you have Donovan Mitchell doing the whole kumbaya team thing, everybody move the ball around, that's not how that works when you have someone like that. And how they operate is of that ilk, of that mentality. They have all these stars, if you want to call them that play specific roles and have specific identities and are allowed to play their specific style, and they run plays for it. The Nets do not do that. You have Cam Thomas out there lost. If Cam Thomas is not able to shoot over double teams, there's no backup plan. They don't even do the generic stand in the corner with him, do the backdoor cut or something like that. When Ben Simmons is out there, he's only looking at Mikal. They ignore Claxton completely. The only thing he's going to get off is if they remember he's out there, there's 3 seconds left on the shot clock, they dump it down to him, and again, against the Cavs, there are 2 centers, his shot is getting blocked. It is the greatness of Lonnie Walker that helps us push the pace. Like, this team is so lost, and it is frustrating. And again, this isn't even about are we winning or losing. Y'all know I do not care about that this season. And I'm saying about, that's how you know it's serious. It is about the simple fact that it is frustrating to watch a team that should be developing, that is doing everything in its power to sabotage itself. This season was supposed to be for the development of Cam Thomas and Nicholas Claxton. I don't care what Mikal Bridges does. I don't care if he figures out how to be a number 1 option or not. That's not what this season is about. I don't know what the organization is telling these players, but making the playoffs is not what we're doing right now. That shouldn't be the focus. And I'm not saying tank, but I'm saying develop the players. You keep drafting these people and you don't give them a chance to do anything, and then the second they just figure it out on their own, you say, oh, look, valuable piece, valuable piece. Who hates their team? What star player hates their team? And then you give them away. Look at the Cavaliers, and you see exactly how that works out for us. It's so much more than we lost the stars and didn't win. Look at the people who we send away. Spencer Dinwiddie goes to the Mavs, immediately makes the conference finals. The only one in that general category that ain't doing nothing is Joe Harris, but that's because he was always buns. He would be great on the Hawks, I'm going to be honest with you, but that's not here or there. One final example, just to really just put the nail in the coffin of understanding. That Sean Marks has got to go. And again, I had to call this video I was wrong about Ben Simmons just to get people to click on it. We know he's trash. I was wrong. We can own up to it. But make it known that this is an anti-Sean Marks video. 30 minutes in, I know. But listen, the one final example, and Sean Marks has just got to go. What is D'Angelo Russell doing right now? Let me ask that again. What is D'Angelo Russell doing right now? D'Lo is single-handedly saving the Lakers. They will make the play-in tournament at minimum because of D'Angelo Russell. Now, I want everyone to just imagine if D'Lo wasn't getting passed around, like a metaphor that I don't think I can make on Nets Republic. I'm going to try to make a clean version of it. Like a cigar in a penitentiary? That's the best I can do. If D'Angelo Russell was able to stay in one place long term, and be surrounded by an organization that believes in him and not a bunch of frauds. Minnesota, a Golden State. Can you imagine the God tier D'Angelo Russell would be at right now? Can y'all imagine a starting lineup right now? D'Angelo Russell, Cam Thomas, the timeline gets confusing, so I can't give you every position, but hear me out hypothetically, right? We would still have D'Lo. We'd still have Cam Thomas. Maybe Karras continues to start at the 3. I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about a 4. I don't know. But either Claxton or Jarrett Allen, or maybe they do the Cavalier thing where they're both, because again, we drafted these people. They were on the team at the same, we didn't have to make these moves. So again, I'm trying to think in my mind of what the team would be like if we didn't do all this crap. You'd still have Spencer Dinwiddie who could come off the bench. At that point, you still got Joe Harris. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson is still there, I would assume. Or maybe you trade him for something else and just keep the general core. Like, again, and just think about that, right? We still probably get Day'Ron Sharpe. That's a good team. Because again, put your future vision goggles on here for a second. Look at what D'Angelo Russell is doing right now in LA. He would be 10 times better because he's been in Brooklyn this whole time. It's just such a shame that we have to watch this and play these what if games. Because it's like, God, just imagine what could have been. And again, I'm not jumping out the window here or making insane scenarios because we get Cam Thomas either way. Claxton was already on the team. That's the core right there. That really is a shame. That really, really is a shame. Sean Marks has got to go. Because if he, there are, like, I'm already living at the Royce O'Neal thing. But let me be just totally clear with y'all. If Cam Thomas or Claxton leaves this team, that's the final straw. I mean, I'm not going to leave the Nets, but I don't think I can go through this again. Cavs games make me cry because I'm looking at what we could have had. Watching D'Angelo Russell doing what he's doing right now makes me cry because I'm sitting there watching the Ben Simmons show and the Mikal Bridges show and saying, why? Why? But it is what it is. All we can do is hope that eventually Cam Thomas gets a chance, Claxton gets a chance, and it's on the Nets. That's the only thing we can hope for. I just know right now these are some really, really dark times. Watching this potential go down the drain. I mean, like, even with the pieces that we have currently, Dennis Smith Jr. should be playing significantly more minutes. It's very tough to watch. It's very, very frustrating. It's very tough. You know, the fact that Dennis Schroeder is discussing the people that he might have a relationship and who he doesn't, and Claxton and Cam aren't even brought up, is just goes to show you everything you need to know about our situation. It's just, I don't know, y'all. Anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow to talk about the Spurs game. it's a shame what's going on, y'all. It's a shame.